everyone. Welcome. This is episode 7. We are meeting today with Chantel. We are going to be discussing her amazing tiny home, which is available in North Carolina. Of course, it can be delivered anywhere in the United States. We wanted to share the information about this tiny home with a video interview because it has such a unique story. And what a better way to do that than having the owner of the tiny home herself come on to share about it. So thank you for joining us this morning, or if you're watching the replay, this is Rebel Roots. We are planting seeds for transformation. Today, I am in a different space than usual. I am visiting family. I'm really excited today. I get to go see my super cute niece play soccer for the first time. So that's something I'm looking forward to today. But just kicking off the day as well, sharing the amazing story about this tiny home, Chantel's family, and how her homesteading journey began. Thank you so much for joining today. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Peace, everyone.
Yes, peace. Amazing. This is so wonderful that you have such a cool story and a rich history with homesteading. So you were living in a city in Chicago, right?
Yes, born and raised in Chicago. And after a gun violence incident with my youngest brother, that sent me to North Carolina. And after he passed away from the injuries, I decided to use homesteading as a way to heal and move through that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for your loss. I think reconnecting with the land and getting back to the land can be a very therapeutic and healing outlet. And despite that tragedy, it's amazing everything that you've accomplished in your journey. So yeah, actually, I'm really honored to have your tiny house, listed with us for Tiny House Society, because I love Homestead Rescue. I have watched that show all the seasons, and I was like, what episode was that? And then I rewatched it just recently, like, oh yeah, I had already seen this one, but it was cool to refresh my memory with your story. And so for folks who maybe aren't familiar with your background, if you want to kind of dive into that, and we can talk about the tiny house, of course, as well, that was built during the show, but I'll just have you take the stage and maybe share a little bit about your journey.
For sure. During the time my brother had got shot, I was getting my master's degree in social work from the University of Washington. And like I said, once he got shot, I decided to move to North Carolina. And when he passed away, I decided to get into homesteading as a way of healing. And my first place that I homestead at was this beautiful 20-acre property that I was volunteering on, supporting the land there. And I started a YouTube channel just as a way to share my journey and what I was doing. And I got a comment on one of those videos from the cast and crew of Homestead Rescue. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness. One thing about farming or homesteading is housing and land access. And so at the time, I didn't know that the Homestead Rescue was going to build this tiny house, but it was a great opportunity to provide exposure to the work that I was doing, and to share the story of my brother in a very humble, graceful way, and to show that that anybody can homestead. So it was great. And when it told me that I was going to get a tiny house, that changed my world, because I did not know how I was going to be able to continue homesteading without either land or housing, which, as I already mentioned, is a big issue in the farming community. So having that tiny house was so transformative, as it allowed me to travel different places across the state of North Carolina as I tried to figure out the type of homestead and the type of farming that I wanted to do. So it took the rent part of it out of the equation as far as housing, and I can focus more on developing my craft, healing through the land. So I really loved it. Moved a lot, like I said, but each place I moved, the tiny house grew and ebbed and flowed with me. And at one point, I lived about 18 months, 100% off the grid. So the tiny house is flexible. You can plug it in to some power and it will operate with as much power as is able to get from being plugged in, or you can unplug it and you can use the 400-watt panels that's up there to live a very simple life. And I did that for a solid 18 months and loved it. It was a great time of healing to really prove to myself that I could live off the land, that I can figure out my water sources and my energy sources, and I could provide food for myself. And the most part, the best part was that it kept me outside and connected to community, because it's an 8x24. It's not a bunch of space in there, right? So did what it needed to do. It provided housing, a place for comfort, a restroom, right? Meal creations, and I loved it. And it was a part of the land. So it kept me outside, kept me connected to the people, which drew other people in too. So it started off as Off-Grid and Color as the business, and now we're currently Sunrise and Farm. As Off-Grid and Color, we're really focused on homesteading and really encouraging people to take steps towards self-sufficiency through community outreach, farm raised goods. And I loved it. And through that, we did a lot of retreats where people really came out to not only connect with the land, but to get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday city life, 9 to 5 working, and to connect with minimal living and being around community. And the tiny house was such a central point because people loved it, right? Like, oh my goodness, it was more than what you've seen on TV. It was possibilities. It was a stepping stone. It was a way to access, and I loved that. And we did about 3 or 4 retreats before taking a break from motherhood and transitioning to Sunrise and Farm. And in that transition, I realized how much I grew as not just someone who homestead, but as a business owner and farming. And so when I came back from my sabbatical period, as I call it, I was thriving. I was raising more animals at this point, transitioned to just focusing on raising animals and doing more community outreach and really honing in on like raising my family, who I deeply love. And nurturing my marriage with my husband, Antoine, and really focusing on family and community around outdoor being at that point. And the tiny house, once again, ebbing and flowing, growing, housing other people, which I love. It wasn't just only a stepping stone for me, but for other people in my life to use for temporary housing or to like stabilize themselves. And that's what I want for folks to be able to have in the agro community. It's a lot of barriers to access, particularly around land and housing. And for me, having a tiny house was a way for me to have what I have now, which I'm so grateful for. It also provided stability and housing for other people along the way. So this could be your home.
Yeah, I love that. And I have the same story too. When I was in Austin, Texas, it was like 2015. I got a tiny home, a glamper. Eventually 3 years later, I got a tiny home, but like having that stabilizing as the foundation, like there's literally no way that I would have been able to save up and get land and do the homestead life and all of this, like without having that as a foundation. And so this is an opportunity for someone to step in. It's an amazing price too. Like you're moving right in February, like you're in a big life transition. Mm-hmm. And now you're providing this amazing opportunity for someone else to get this tiny home. It's in North Carolina right now, but the cool thing is it's on a steel frame with tires. Like it can be moved. Easy peasy, no issue. Don't let that set yourself back, right? Like that's not a problem at all when it comes to tiny homes with that mobility. But yeah, so can you talk a little bit about, people can see it literally get built on the episode. Episode 3, episode 4, I can't remember.
4, Homestead of Horrors.
Yeah, let's talk about the tiny home. So this is like thank you so much for sharing your story and all this great, rich information and the way that that you were able to, live in the tiny, and then you have other people who were able to use it as a stabilizing spot. Maybe now we can kind of shift into the actual tiny home itself. You said you were off the grid living in it. Like, what's the potential here for someone who's ready you're starting a new chapter, someone else could be starting a new chapter?
it's so many possibilities. So many possibilities. And right now, there is some work that needs to be done to that tiny house. So it's an 8x4. It's been well lived in. It's almost when was that show? That show took place. I'm having a bit of a brain fart right now, but 2016, 2017. So it's not a young whippersnapper, but it has bones, y'all. It has solid bones. Tires are good. 8x24. It has 2 lofts. Um, Pretty spacious. The bathroom, y'all. You're gonna love this bathroom, at least the size that it is right now. The bathroom of the tiny home is as big as my mother's bathroom in Chicago, who lives in a condo off the lake. This is no lie. So think about it as like a studio apartment. It's pretty spacious, right? It's not there are other tiny homes which are sometimes smaller, but this one is actually pretty spacious with lots of room to grow, add more storage capacity in there. So it has a pretty spacious bathroom. The primary loft is very spacious. You're able to sit up, very well lit. And then there's a second loft that could be used for storage or for someone else to stay in. Um, yeah, look at this. A lot of character in there. What the show was doing was going for, so you all can know, they wanted to have a repurposed look. So this is what it is. So if you want to have a more rugged repurposed look, this is what it is now. But you can take all this and make it be fancy smashy how you want to. Look at it. Look at those floors. The stairs, as you see, came from the woods of the homestead I was at, and that is raw cedar that you see there. Some the paneling needs to be removed and to use how you want, but it's clean, it works. Very minor things in there. If anyone interested in knowing how much it can possibly be to renovate back to the restore place, please reach out. I've already contacted Purchiness, who are the folks who put this. It is RV certified too, to put this together, and I'm happy to share contact information. And they're very amazing people who are already willing to make repairs to it. So this is a very loved tiny house by the community, the people who built it, the show who put it on air, and the people who lived in it. So lots of character, lots of room for growth. And honestly, with just, probably a few $1,000s, it could just be as is. And I do like that too. It could be whatever you wanted it to be, as it is now or more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think too, like, that's what's really interesting. You're talking about the bones and the foundation. It's like if someone wants to do drywall or shiplap or whatever and like finish it out in the living room, that's always an option. But this is like an amazing tiny home, and at the price too. So you're in a situation where you're moving right to Ghana.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge life change. So like you're about to list the property in February. It's right now we're recording on December 21st. Is it December 20th. So share a little bit about your situation. You're in a huge life transition. So you're ready to get this tiny house off to the perfect human being in the next year or two. Like this is pretty so
ideally we would like to have this tiny house sold before spring, y'all. Our family is growing and dreaming, and we want to move to Ghana is the plan for us. And so big things are happening. We're putting our farm on the market in February, and the tiny house has been on the market for a while at this point. So everything must go by spring. So feel free to reach out for questions, and you can learn more about our farm journey in Ghana. So we're just not dropping the farm here and just moving to Ghana. We're into our ancestors and doing the things that we love, passionate about through Mother Earth too in Ghana. Yeah, come here, mommy. Okay. One of the little ones wants to join and say hello.
Oh.
Yeah, we're really excited. Hi. Yeah, we can get some yoga later. Say hello.
No.
Okay. So can I have a moment and I can come get some yogurt, okay?
No.
Okay. All right. Take this.
Well, I know you're really busy, and I really appreciate your time today. I think it's important to, tell the story of the tiny home, and for folks who want to actually watch it get built. Like it's so from said 26. I mean, it's been, we're almost a decade later, but it has so much rich history, and so understanding kind of all the background is so important. And I think it helps to tell the story of the significance of this tiny home and how it helped with your rooting, and then other people who've had the opportunity to. And that's like the whole thing with tiny homes is it's like it can be a stepping stone. It can be whatever you want it to be. And it forces that lifestyle too, where you go out and connect with people, connect with.
Yes.
Thank you. It's so much more than just a tiny home. And
yes,
it's inspiring to hear your story. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. It's more than a tiny home. It connects community and land. And I do love that about it.
Amen. Well, I am wishing you all the most amazing blessings and everything in your future. This is so exciting to be stepping into that new chapter of your life and true reconnection with the roots. That's so just awesome. I'm really happy for you, and I'm excited to find a new buyer for your tiny home.
Yes, please reach out. Please reach out.
Absolutely. So I'll be sharing this video out with all of our tiny home audience. I'm going to be sharing it with our email list with Tiny House Society. And my name's Rebecca. I'm helping to get this tiny house in the right person's hands. So if you have any questions, I'm here as a resource. Rebecca at tinyhousesociety.com. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's a Saturday morning. You've got things to do. I'm excited to go to this soccer game.
Yes.
We're like gearing up for the holidays, but yes, so we have a month or two until you're moving and everything, and the property's getting sold. So thank you so much for your time. We're going to find someone amazing for this tiny home. If people have questions, I'll post the description listing for the tiny house, or I'll post the listing in the description section of this video. So
yes,
awesome. Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, we are sharing tiny house stories, homesteading. Rebel Roots is all about reconnecting with the land and planting seeds for transformation. So thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, peace.